Yo, what's good, y'all? Hey, what's really good though? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Redux. What ifs? And today we are back better than ever, man. First off, I just want to thank y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me while I was gone. So, without any further ado, this is What If Itachi was in Jobless Reincarnation, the movie. Well, okay, it's really not a movie. Well, we're just gonna say the first season complete. All right. So we're basically just gonna do the first season complete. Okay. So how I'm gonna do it is that I'm gonna put this part up, right? I'm gonna put this part up, and then after that, all the other episodes will drop in one video. Kind of like, actually, I might as well just put it in this video. But you know what? Yeah, we're just gonna do that. So this is What If Itachi was in Jobless Reincarnation, the complete first season, part 1, because there almost dropped, y'all, because I believe there's a part 2. So it's like season 1 part 1, season 1 part 2, I believe. So I was over here trying to make sure everything is good and everything. So how it was work for a Jobless Reincarnation is that there's a part 1 and part 2. So part 1 is 11 episodes and part 2 is like 12 to 23 episodes. So we're just gonna do the complete season 1 part 1 for right now, right? So I hope y'all enjoy this What If I'm about to bring y'all, man. And for all the other stuff that happens, if y'all ever seen Jobless Reincarnation, what Rudeus does as, canon self, I'm be real, Itachi's not gonna do none of that, bro. I'm gonna be real, because we gotta understand Itachi's character. In Itachi's character, he wouldn't do something like that. But to make things interesting, why not? We gonna say, well, he's not like a fiend for it, He's not a fiend for it, so I just appreciate all the love and support for y'all. And then after this, we gonna get into the Young Justice. So I'm gonna upload this, render it, get into the Young Justice part. I might drop Miles Morales Spectacular Spider-Man as a placeholder, and then get into the Invincible episodes, because I've been noticing all the Invincible is going crazy. And honestly, I think I might bring back What If Deku had Sukuna as a vessel, bro. Honestly, because I saw the first part, that shit got like 1,100 views, 1,100 views. I'm like, dang, bro. Okay. And then for my what is it? For the Superman X Invincible What If, that one has over 1,000 views, 1.1k views too. So I'm about to bring some heavy hitters for y'all. But without any further ado, man, I'm gonna let the intro play, and we gonna get into this movie, What If, part 1. Let's go. Now, if you remember where we left off at episode 5. That's where we're at right now. We're at episode 5. So for the other What Ifs, I kind of skipped some of the episodes for the first part because some of it was like drama filler, but we already know what happened, We still got to the main point of what was going on, right? So now we're at episode 5, where Rudeus, or as we all know, Itachi, arrives in Roa to tutor Iris, right? So you already know how she is right now, man. So we picking up where we left off, where she was on top of Itachi and beating him after he got caught off guard. And he was like, he really likes the feistiness. It reminds him of somebody that he used to know. And we're gonna say Izumi from his past, right? Even though she wasn't a fiery spirit, she was still like on Itachi's ass. So we just gonna say that, right? We're just gonna say that for now. So we just gonna say that. So this is where we notice that she's a lot older than Rudeus or Itachi at this moment. Red hair, screams, disliked. She screams at people she don't like and all this other stuff, right? and all the other tutors really don't ever finish a lesson. So after the whole escapade, he goes to his father, and he was like, see, I don't know what to do with her. He was like, every tutor that we have, they always give up. She just doesn't know how to keep her composure or her anger. And then that's when Itachi was like, you know, her anger isn't a problem. Maybe it's the teaching style that they do. He was like, I want to try something. He said, let's plan a fake kidnapping and, you know, make her visibly shaken, but nothing too crazy, to maybe, you know, make her realize that, you know, things can happen and she needs to be able to protect herself, and basic survival skills to, you know, so you don't have to worry about how she is when she gets of age, and anything that may come to her that may harm her. And so with that being said, they planned the whole staged kidnapping, right? So they go out, you know, get some things, you know, he's over here getting to know Iris. As Iris says, you know, Iris basically ask him, like, you know, how old is he, where is he coming from, and excuse me, and Itachi basically tells her that he's, you know, like 9, or I think he was like 9 or 8. I don't know how old he is. All I know is Iris was like older than him, maybe by a year. We're just gonna say a year. So he said he's 9, and he's coming from where his father used to stay at, Paul, which she knows Paul because her mom always talks about how perverted he is, and that's when she was like, ew, you didn't pick up any habits from your father, did you? And then that's when Itachi was like, on contrary belief, I understand that my father has a sort of reputation for being a very perverted person, but I assure you, I did not pick up that trait. And if I did, I honestly wouldn't know what to do with myself. So they plan to so basically the plan was to make her shaken up and escape, and to gain her trust using like magic and chakra save, what he would have, right? So after that, they get kidnapped, and, you know, everything goes according to plan, right? Which they make it look believable at first, and then that's when Itachi was like, okay, we're gonna get knocked out, and they plan on knocking us out. So he was like, I'll knock my own self out, which he does. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. So actually, no, I'm gonna say he put himself in a genjutsu, looking at a puddle real quick to temporarily knock himself out for about a good hour or 2, maybe 2.5. So that's what happens. So everything fades to black as he wakes up, and then this is where he takes the bag off his head, right? Takes the bag. His hands are still tied up. His hands are tied up, but he still managed to get the sack of bag off of his face, and then that's where he looks around and sees Iris, and so that's when he shoots he does like a hand sign with his hands, and then he makes a miniature gust to blow the bag off of Iris's head, and then that's when she asked what's happening, what's going on, and then that's when Itachi said, it seems like we've been kidnapped due to your status and how your father is. He was like, isn't your father a noble? And that's when she said yes. And then he's like, if you're the daughter of the noble, it is expected to have enemies. And then that's when she was like, I don't believe you. He was like, she said Gishelin will find us. And then that's when he was like, there's no guarantee that Gishelin knows we're even kidnapped. He was like, last time we checked, she was at the estate guarding. There's no telling if she's still there or not, or maybe she got or maybe she's taking time off. We don't know. But all we need to do is figure out a way to get out of here. And then that's when one of the dudes come in and start saying that, be quiet. And then that's when Itachi was like, okay, maybe he's playing this part a little too well, he's playing this part a little too well. Maybe he has a disdain for her, So this is where Iris starts saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, and he'll be in a world of trouble. And that's when Iris gets punched by the dude in the gut, and then he grabs her by her hair. He was like, look at this pretty red thing. I always have a disdain for your father, but since you're here, we can make a woman out of you. And then that's when Itachi was like, no. And then that's when Itachi's like, what are you doing? He was like, who put you up to this? This wasn't how it was supposed to go. And he was like, how it was supposed to go? Do you not realize we have a grudge against her father, kid? He was like, you understand what predicament he put us in? Now that we have her, we could have a ransom out. And he was like, and we could get all the money that we want, drain him dry, and then we'll live our days on a beautiful land, surrounded by all the women in the world. But she has to get hers first. And we're going to have a little dark story, man. A little dark story, but not too crazy, okay? I promise. We're not going to get crazy like that. We're not going to get crazy like that, all right? We're not going to get crazy like that. So this is when Itachi was like, I may have miscalculated, and I did not mean to put her and he didn't mean to put Iris in unintentional danger, because he should have foresaw what this was supposed to be, or he should have foresaw how they may have acted, to see if he had any enemies that he wanted to speak about or anything. And then that's when he was like, we'll be back, and when we do, let's just say we're all gonna have a turn at making you pay for your father's sins. And then that's when Itachi's stomach gets sick, and then that's when she kicks him, and then that's when he leaves, as he's in pain right now. He was like, you don't understand what you did, you red bitch. So right, it's gonna be a good story, I promise, but you gotta let me cook. So this is where she starts to cry as she starts bleeding. She starts bleeding from the mouth, as she got hit from the mouth as well. And then that's when Itachi, she said that she's scared and she wants to go home, and that if she knew that everything was going to be like this, then she would have listened to her tutors. And this is where Itachi was just silent, because he's in his head. He's trying to figure out what his next move is. What should he do? Why did he put her in this position that he thought it was going to be a little better, but he didn't mean to put her in this predicament like this. So with that being said, this is where she was like, Itachi, what are we going to do? I'm scared. He's like, I don't trust you. And then that's when she starts getting mad. That Tsunade thing that she's doing. And then that's when Itachi was like, Iris, I need you to understand and listen to me. This is a matter of life and death. This is a matter of seriousness. I don't want any unnecessary harm to come to you. I'm sorry that I put you in this predicament, but I promise, if we escape, if you allow me to lead you and allow me to help you and keep you safe, I promise I will teach you. But right now, we have to get out of here, and you have to stop being stubborn and listen to me. If we get out, you could be stubborn to me all you want, but please, for the sake of your protection, listen to me. And then that's when she blushes, and that's when she said, okay, I will listen to you. He's like, good. Now don't say anything, all right? Just stay behind me and try not to put yourself in danger. And that's when she said, okay. And then that's when she covers her mouth, as she said, as she was listening to Itachi. And then that's when he said, good. Now. And then that's when she said, can I ask a question? And that's when Itachi looked. He was like, go ahead. She said, how do you suppose we get out of here? you don't have any magic, do you? And then that's when Itachi said, if you let me do what I need to do, you will understand. And then that's when she said, okay, I will be quiet from now on. And then that's when she said, and then that's when Itachi closes his eyes and activates his Sharingan. As she sees his eyes glow, the tomoes and the wheels spinning, as she thinks that his she didn't think that he had a second pair of eyes, as she wants to comment on it, but she's keeping her mouth shut, as she has her inner dialogue, as she thinks his eyes are really, beautiful and something to behold at. So this is where Itachi does a hand sign. Well, he keeps his hands together and concentrates, as he said he hasn't really tried it, as he only seen select certain people do this, as he says, fire style, fire dragon jutsu, as he slightly blows, and then that's when a flame comes out as he burns the ropes off, and then that's when he snaps, right? And then that's when he says wind style, wind hand blade, and then that's when a compressed air basically comes out of Itachi's hand as like an air blade, and then he slices clean through the feet rope restraints, right? So after he does that, he ends up freeing Iris, right? He frees Iris, and they sneak up out the window. I know that quality just went from bad to like super better at the same time. So after that, he helps Iris up, and they escape, right? So they escape, and as they were walking, and Itachi told her to keep low, right? That's when the servants that betrayed them and the bandits turn and grab Iris as acting like, and he basically says that you thought you could escape. We need her, and she's collateral, and plus we need to make her pay for all the time she made us suffer. And he said, I know exactly how to do that with her pretty red hair and everything else, and which makes Itachi visibly mad. So Itachi doesn't even say no words. He said, he does say something. Itachi says, I'm giving you one time to let her go and turn yourself in peacefully before I have to do something that not even I won't stop myself from doing. And then that's when they were like, you're just a brat that knows basic magic. You don't even know what we're capable of. And that's when Itachi says, fine, don't say I didn't warn you, because this will be the last time you talk in your lifetime. And then that's when he activates his Sharingan. And then that's when Itachi says, I'm starting with you. And then that's when he puts the bandit that was holding onto Iris in the genjutsu, like a basic Sharingan genjutsu, no Tsukiyomi, nothing crazy yet, right? So he puts him in a genjutsu, and he starts screaming as he feels like he's being burnt alive, right? But he's actually not. So that's when Iris looks at Itachi, as she's thinking like, what did he do? Why is he screaming like that? And then that's when Itachi said, move, Iris. And that's when he basically body flickers next to her, right? So he body flickers next to her, as she didn't even see him move. All she saw is like a dark line, like a dark shadow. And that's when he gently pushes her out the way, and Itachi catches the blade that was about to swipe Iris down. And then that's when Itachi uses a counter kick to push him back. And then that's when he grabs her, despite him being young and a little shorter than Iris right now. He is very strong due to Paul's training. So he grabs her and he said, we're leaving. And then that's when he takes something out of his pouch and then throws it on the ground as it is a smoke bomb, right? It's a smoke bomb. And then that's when he jumps in the air as everybody's coughing, right? So he runs with Iris, on the wall. And then that's when, excuse me, sorry for the y'all. Haven't done that one in a while. So that's when he runs, right? He starts to run on the wall, and then that's when he escapes. And then another bandit comes, and blocks their path, right? And then that's when he's a master of, I think, the North God, the North sword style. He's like, let's say he's like a knight, like that's his rank. I don't know the ranks, but I'm sure a knight is probably up there. So he's a knight, and Itachi draws his short katana, as he was like, you think you have a chance against a knight whose style is North and sword god style? Face me. And then that's when they begin to fight. As they clash, right, he tries to go for a fake out slash to hit Itachi in his throat, but it hits, right? It hits, but as Iris says, screams out Itachi, right? That's when it turns into crows, right? It turns into crows and it explodes, right? He used a shadow clone explosion, right? If y'all played Naruto Ninja Storm, y'all know Itachi's clones explode. It's one of his ninjutsus that he can do, make his clone explode if it comes into contact or it suffers any damage. Doesn't matter how small. Well, I guess it does matter how small it is, but it will explode on contact. So that's what happens. It explodes on contact, which makes bro fly back. And then that's when Itachi comes from up under the ground, as he says earth burial jutsu, right? And he grabs him by the feet, right, as he was coming down, and then buries him in the earth, right? And then that's when Itachi comes back up, as he says fire style, lotus flame bomb. And then that's when he takes his hand, right, and then there's a huge fire coming towards him, and then that's when the fire makes contact and makes a huge explosion, and he's out. He's still alive, but he's just severely injured from that explosion, right? So after that they started attacking Itachi, and Iris tried to fight. She's fighting, kicking, biting, trying to get let go, as one of them grabs her by her hair, and then that's when she yells Itachi's name, and then that's when Itachi was like, enough. And then that's when he says he does the hand signs, as he says lightning style, lightning burial. And then that's when the ground and the sides of the walls get electrified. And then that's when Itachi tells Iris to ground herself with the dirt right now. And so that's when she noticed there was some dirt that came up due to the explosion, right? And so that's when they let go at the last second, right? And then Iris touches the dirt, right? So she's protected, she's grounded and protected. And Itachi said, you might feel a shock, but don't worry, it won't hurt. And then that's when the lightning burial shot through, right? It shot through, and it shocked her. It gave her like a little zap. She felt it. It kind of tingled, hurt her a little bit, because she's not used to that yet. And then, but it shocked everybody else. Everybody else got electrocuted. And then that's when Iris runs towards Itachi, as that's when one of them throws a knife and it cuts her leg, which makes her startled, and she struggles to walk as Itachi carries her away, right? So after he gets her, right, he starts to run away, and then that's when Itachi used earth mud wall to make a barrier so he could have more time to escape. But then one of them jumps over the barrier, right, and takes out their sword. And one of their styles is you could throw the sword as a weapon, right? So that's when he throws the sword as a weapon, right? And then that's when Itachi said that he basically won't be able to save Iris unless he does what he thinks he's about to do. And he was like, I haven't even tested it yet, but here goes nothing. And then that's when like I said, in one of the abilities I gave Itachi for his actually, no, we'll save that for later. We're not gonna give him the Mangekyou now. And then that's when he says as the sword was getting closer, he was like, I don't have time to think. Let's see if I could just do it. I don't care if I burn through my reserves. She needs to be protected at all costs. And so that's when Itachi concentrates on his eyes, and he forcefully awakens the Mangekyou Sharingan. So he forcefully awakens it, as he didn't use hatred this time. Instead, he used the fear of somebody getting hurt. So he kind of broke the cycle of hatred for now, but he basically used that's what he used. So he forcefully awakened it, and then that's when he concentrates all the energy he has and makes like a Susanoo. His Susanoo is gonna be black. I'm gonna make it black. I'm gonna make it black with white outlines. The flame is gonna be black. So like the aura is black, but the aura will be white. So that's what his Susanoo looks like. I know it's different from the red one. I wanted the color to be different because honestly, a black Susanoo goes hard, bro. Like, let's be real. So he makes a partial skeletal protection from Iris as it hits the skeleton, right? It hits the skeleton and it breaks. As he was like, what kind of person is he? And then that's when Itachi looks at him, and that's when he sees the Mangekyou, and then that's when he had an overarching feeling of doom, because when he saw the Mangekyou, he saw the moon turn into that, and then it started spinning. Itachi put him in a Tsukiyomi unknowingly, and then that's when Itachi uses the Tsukiyomi to make him feel Amaterasu, as he sees Itachi scream Amaterasu, and then this is black flame. You already know what the Amaterasu does, the black flame that burns any and everything. So that's what happens. He starts screaming in agony, and then that's when Itachi's eyes go to normal, and that's when they crash land with Itachi protecting Iris from the brunt of the force, as he was like, I'm all spent. And then that's when Gishelane comes and, uses her rainbow, I think it's like Rainbow of Light or Rainbow Slash. I don't know what it was, but it's some sword technique that is fucking crazy. So that's when she uses the sword technique, and it makes like a huge explosion and cuts everything into pieces, including the mud wall, right? So after she accesses that everybody is fine and all the servants and the bandits and the people that betrayed her are dead, right? She cuts through everybody and makes everybody quick work of everybody. After they assess the situation and the authorities come and they're allowed to leave, Iris comes to the conclusion that learning from Itachi could be beneficial, and she officially sees Itachi as her tutor and teacher, and puts her feelings aside and wants to learn more from Itachi and welcomes him into the Boris household. Now we're on to episode 6. Now episode 6, we're gonna get into it like this. So next, what happens is, after the events of what happened in the previous episode, they wake up like nothing happened, and Iris, comes in Itachi's room ready to train, right? So they're ready to train, and this is where he starts to teach us the basics about combat and magic, right? Just like simple stuff, punch, kick, work on your punches and kicks and basic magic, right? So as he was doing it, she was basically into it, and then Itachi realized that she started skipping lessons and trying to skip, so it gets bored quickly. So he decided to spice it up a little. So he was like, and then that's when Itachi. So we're gonna say for the next day, this is where Itachi was. Basically, he heads to Iris' rooms as he knocks politely, and she was like, what? You didn't walk in? He was like, and that's when Itachi was like, no, I do have some common courtesy. I'm not just a weirdo. Do you think I'm a weirdo? And then that's when Iris slightly blushed. She's like, no, but I think you can be sometimes. And then that's when Itachi was like, although I do have, I am from my father, I don't have his tendencies. I can exhibit some sort of self-control, you know? And so this is where Iris is like, if you come here, she said, if you plan on boring me with another lesson, I'm not going. And then that's when Itachi said, who said anything about a lesson? I wanted to go to the city with you. It's your day off today. He was like, I feel like I've been so Itachi basically says that he feels like he's been maybe overstimulating her with all the things that he's teaching her ever since the real kidnapping has happened. He doesn't want her to go through that, just in case if he may not be there to protect her. So he was like, but at the same time, I don't want to overwork you, so today's your day off. And then that's when he was like, where's something nice? We're gonna go. And then that's when she blushes, because she kind of sees this as a little date, you know, crazy, you know. Okay. And then that's when they go on their day off. They go through the city. She wants to buy a expensive gift, and you know, for Itachi, but Itachi politely declines, as he says that when you get of age, your father may have you to be independent by yourself. So for now, just have an allowance, and you know, use your allowance to buy the gift for me. Even though I don't want a gift, I will happily accept it. And then that's what she does. And then also, to get her extra motivated, Gishelin vows to teach. She starts teaching Iris and Itachi swordsmanship, and Itachi is not allowed to use his Sharingan, because Gishelin said, in that red eye that you use to track movements, you're not allowed to use it unless at least till you get to advancement rank. So yeah, we're gonna say that, right? And so after that, you know, pretty much everything goes to canon, where we time skip a little bit, and then this is where Philip gives pulls Itachi for a chat, and warning them about keeping his secret about the gray rat connections that he has, right? And then that's when Itachi was like, of course I can keep it a secret. There are many things I have done in my life that even you don't know about, or my father. So, excuse me. So he was like, of course I can keep it a secret. He was like, I'm here to make sure your daughter is safe, to teach her properly, and anything that you ask from me, I'll do to the best of my ability within reason. But you asking to keep a secret like this, don't even worry about it. I got you. So yeah. So after that, this is where we're gonna say it went to canon. Iris bought aphrodisiac. He didn't know what it was. Obviously, he's not gonna drink it yet. And then we're gonna save that for later. We're gonna save that for later, right? So this is where we go to the next episode, right? And this is where everything happens, right? So this is Iris's birthday, right? So it's a noble birthday. It's Iris preparing for her important noble birthday, right? I just said that in like two different ways, I know. And plus the anniversary event as well. So this is where she gets mad, and it's their day off, you know, for days, so there's no training. And Itachi is even though Itachi is Itachi, he still picked up some habits from his father. You know what? If I make Itachi a perv, that's just gonna slander his character. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say he's the type of person that works hard, but when he's off, he plays hard too, or just chillaxes hard too. So this is where Iris gets upset because she can't get the dance right. She can't get the dance how the maids are teaching her. So she storms off and she says that she doesn't want to deal with them in their stupid dance. She just wants to clear her head, and she says she's gonna go find Itachi. And then that's when Itachi she bumps into Itachi, and that's when she was like, Itachi, where are you going? He was like, oh, I was just gonna head outside to the hay a little bit. And then that's when Iris was like, that's when Itachi was like, is there something the matter? And she said, no, whatever you're doing, I'm interested in doing with you, so let's go. And then that's when Itachi was like, oh, all right then, okay. And so they head to the hay, and this is where Itachi opened the panel, right? Opened the roof of the barn to have that breeze come in with the sun hitting. And then he was like, and then this is where he looks at her and then falls back on the hay, and he was like, you know, when I relax, I'm a simple-minded person. He's like, believe it or not, this is probably the best spot to sleep in. Well, not sleep, but take naps in. And then that's when Iris is like, so you're just gonna lay in hay all day? That's what Itachi's like, for the most of the day, yeah, but you can't knock it till you actually try it. And then that's when Itachi he slightly sits up and pats the spot right next to him, as that's when Iris blushed and she says, I'm not gonna sleep with you on the hay. And then that's when Itachi turned red. This is the first time he's ever feeling like this. He don't understand these feelings that he's having right now. The only time he ever had those type of feelings is when he was with Sylphie, which I kind of did. I feel like I kind of did skip over those parts. But when we have Sylphie's flashback, we're going to come back to that, and then it's all going to make sense. So for now, yes. Actually, I did go over with the Sylphie part. Never mind. I'm good. But, yeah, that's when Itachi was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I meant to just lay down and, take in everything. Listen to everything. He was like, and then that's when Itachi was like, to be a strong warrior, you have to be able to be a warrior in a peaceful garden, And then that's when Iris was like, fine, but only for 5 minutes, and then I'm leaving. And then that's when she lays down, like sort of spacious, like given enough space, but at the same time you could tell that they were, close to each other. And then that's when Itachi said, yeah, you say that now till you fall asleep. And then that's when Itachi starts breathing and listening to everything. He starts hearing the birds, people walking, hearing a distance of people talking near the city, and he starts hearing, horses clack around on the stone. Like, he's just listening to everything. It's like a basically like a white noise, like nature white noise that he's listening to, right? And then that's when Iris was like, I can't sit still. And then that's when Itachi was like, Iris, calm down. And then that's when let's see, what can I'm gonna do this. That's when Iris is like, fine, I'll calm down. And she gets closer, and then she gets a little closer to Itachi, and by the time Itachi said that and just finished what he said, he was out, bro. He was out. He was out cold. And then this is when Iris was just looking at Itachi, and then she was like, he has hay in his hair, because Itachi's hair is getting longer. You already know how his hair look when he tied it in that ponytail in the back, but he ain't got the ponytail no more. That band that he's having, it ripped. So his hair's just been long, like really long. Like it's getting almost like, let's see, it's getting almost I wouldn't say moderate long, but let's just say it's at his shoulders, right? It's at his shoulders, right? And he always has a band on, but that band is starting to become a little weak, so it's starting to make more of his hair come out. And then that's when she was like, I didn't really realize how cute Itachi can be. And then that's when she has her inner monologue, like, what are you saying? You can't say that about your tutor. He was like, and then that's when she was like, but at the same time, we're right around the same age with me being older by a little bit. And then that's when she was like, get these thoughts out your head. And then that's when she was like, that's when she was saying to herself, maybe she's been a little hard and rough on Itachi. She'll probably just grant him this wish and just hug him and hold him close for now. And then that's when they, hug each other. Well, she cuddles up with him, and then that's when the sun starts hitting and the breeze starts hitting at the same time. And then that's when she also has another monologue where she was basically saying, maybe this napping spot really isn't as bad as Itachi thought. Well, maybe it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be, as she trails off and ends up going to sleep on Itachi. We're gonna say a few hours pass and the maids are looking for her along with Iris' mom. And then that's when Itachi wakes up and he finds him holding Iris, right? He finds him holding Iris as he was trying not to freak out, right? Because he was like, how did I let my body do this? What happened? And then that's when he noticed his hand was somewhere it wasn't supposed to be. Yeah. I'm not gonna say that because not gonna hold you, these kids, bro. And I know y'all. I know what y'all like to do. Y'all like to keep anime accuracy, but I'm not gonna do that for the sake that they're kids, bro. Like that's kind of it. I don't know. That would be weird on me. So I'm just gonna say they were innocently holding each other, right? Innocently holding each other. We know what happens. We know what happens in jobless reincarnation. Like, bro, let's not act like we don't know, bro. Cause that was low key some child predator shit, bro. Not gonna hold you. Maybe I'm just looking into it, bro. But I'm not gonna hold you, bro. For the sake of me and my morals, even though I did watch the anime and I did find it a little funny, a little bit too weirdly funny, just a little bit. It was a little bit weird, but at the same time, it's an anime. Excuse me. Woo. Yeah, I had to drink that water because that was crazy. But as I was saying, I'm not gonna hold you, bro. That's kind of, I don't know what to do about that, bro. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what to do about that. That's like a grayish area to me because I want to keep anime accuracy and have a little bit jokey jokes, but no, we ain't doing that, bro. But we just gonna say his hand was on her back, close to down there, bro. That's all we gonna do, bro. So this is where he was like, oh shit, what is going on? And then that's when Itachi sees his mom, well, not his mom, but Iris' mother, as he looks at her, and he was like, it's not what it looks like. And then that's when Iris wakes up and she has hay all in her hair, drool coming off Itachi's shoulder. And then that's when Iris looks at her mom, and he's like, that's when her mom, and she's like, Mom, what's wrong? And then that's when she looks and sees what happens and where his hands are. She was like, oh! And then she slapped him. And then that's when Itachi was like, he's like, that's when he rolls up, and then that's when he stands up, and he was like, it was a misunderstanding, I'm sorry. And then that's when he he does the body flicker technique as he disappears with wind, just like the breeze just coming out of nowhere, and then he disappears with the wind. And then that's when she was like, guards, find Itachi. So, it was like a little, funny moment with the guards trying to get Itachi, right? And so this is where Iris, tells her mom that she can't do it. And her mom believes that she can do it, that she's just has to give it another go. And then that's when Itachi remembered that it was Iris's birthday, so he went out to get her favorite flowers, as Iris said what kind of flowers that she wanted, but they didn't have them available. So Itachi ventured out, found them, and then saved it for later, as he was coming back, and this is when what else? This is where Itachi comes back with the flowers to hide them, so he could surprise Iris, right? So he could surprise her, right? So after that, right? She comes in his room, and she was like, Itachi, I'm gonna embarrass my family. I don't think I could do this dance that they want me to do, because I just can't get the steps. And then that's when Itachi was like, dance, do you have the book? And she gives him the book, and then that's when he was like, okay, we're gonna do it like this. And then that's when he opens his eyes to reveal the Sharingan, and he looks at the book with each page in detail. Like, he skims through it, he flips it, reads it, like he skimmed through it, and he finished the book in about 2 minutes. He was like, okay, I think I got it. And then he started blinking a little bit, and then that's when she was like, you read it that fast to understand it? And he was like, I understand a little bit. I'm playing. No, I understand all of it. So that's when he was like, okay, let's get into position. And then that's when they both got into position. He was like, okay, let's start with the first step. You memorized the whole book, so you should know. And he was like, okay. She was like, okay, Itachi. And then that's when he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's when she was getting it, and then she started stumbling over. And then that's when she started stumbling, and Itachi was like, he was like, listen to the numbers. She was like, I'm trying, but I can't do it. And she got upset, and she was like, if you can't help, no one can. And then that's when she storms off. And then that's when Itachi was like, what did I do wrong? He was like, I thought I was doing it right. And then that's when Itachi was like, maybe she doesn't understand numbers, so I have to figure out a way to where she can dance and understand what she's doing, because she knows what she's doing, but she's letting her feet do the thinking, or she's letting her head do the thinking instead of her feet. He was like, I have the perfect form for that. And then that's when basically the event is about to begin. The event begins, right? And that's when she was doing a noble dance with some random guy, and she messed up. So she messed up and ended up falling, right? And then this is where Iris was about to cry, right? She was trying to hold her tears back, but she was just beating herself up. And then this is where the doors burst open. Not like, like slam open, right? It was like a boom, like a noticeable boom, like, when people are entering. It's like that type of boom where everybody looks back. And then that's when they see my dog, Itachi. They see this nigga in an all black suit, bro. All black suit with the, bro, I'm not even gonna do it to you. So, alright, I'm gonna paint y'all a picture, right? So, Itachi got his hair done, right? but not in like on no weird gay shit, yo. I love all my people, but hey, we Itachi don't roll that way, bro. Itachi don't roll that way, bro. But yeah, I love gay people, bro. They my people, bro. Actually, my favorite character, I didn't know they made Muhammad gay in the Final Fantasy 16, but I'm telling you, that dude went so hard, bro. When he was fighting Ultima, this is a tangent aside, bro, but that's honestly one of my favorite Pride characters. You know, even though I personally don't roll like that, because you know I have respect for them. That's my favorite Pride representation character, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Like, for Final Fantasy 15, when I saw him kiss his dude, I was like, what? I was like, dang, bro, I didn't know he was gonna do all that. But hey, if you could fight, I don't even care no more. Kiss as many dudes as you want, bro. But hey, he was killing that dude, bro. Y'all gotta play Final Fantasy 16, bro. I'm telling you, Muhammad is on top. Actually, no, Clive is still on top. It's Clive, Joshua, then if we're talking about side characters, Muhammad is on top, bro. Even though he's technically a main character but like, yeah, y'all gotta play Final Fantasy 16, bro. If y'all want Pride representation done well, pay attention to Final Fantasy 16, bro. They did it perfectly. They did it so perfectly, bro. But anyway, so Itachi got his hair done, you know. He was like, I ain't feeling all that, but we gonna do it anyway. So this is where he walks in, and you know, he wearing a fucking 3-piece black suit, bro. A black suit with the golden cuffs on it. You know what I'm saying? He got the white gloves on. And he looked like a servant. And then actually no, we not gonna have the white gloves on. And then this is where he had like a red blood lily. It's a blood lily, and that's Iris's favorite flower. And then this is where Itachi walks, right? And then this is where he activates his eyes, right? This nigga is aura farming. He's aura farming in this shit, bro. So he walks, right? Everybody clears away. And then that's when everybody was whispering, like, who is this? He was like, for a young boy, you know, he looks kind of good. That's what all the young girls saying, you know, because you know how thirsty they was in the anime, right? I'm not gonna hold you. That was kind of crazy. I'm like, dang, why are they acting like this, bro? Why are they acting like animals like this, bro? That shit was crazy. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm like, damn, bro, they really legit acting like this, man. And then even a girl woman was like, ooh, I wouldn't. He's like, just wait till he gets older, then, you know, I'm gonna have my fun with him. Itachi was in his head, was like, y'all being weird, but I'm aura farming. I can't let this distract me. So this is where Itachi walks up to Iris, and he takes his hand, right? He puts his hand out, and then this is where he says her name. He was like, Iris, I'm here. And then this is where Iris looks up as she's about to cry, right? She has tears in her eyes, right? And then this is where she takes Itachi's hand, and then this is where he yanks her up and then spins her around, and then lay her out, and then pull her back, and then this is where he takes the flower off, you know, had it pinned perfectly, and then put it in her hair where it matches, and he fixes her hair, and he was like, I found your favorite flower. It was really hard to find, but I found it. And then that's when she started blushing, and she was like, thank you, Itachi. And that's when they hugged. And then everybody's just like taken aback, because that guy that she couldn't dance with, I guess they were supposed to have like a marriage. And then that's when that's when that's basically when Itachi was like, that's when Iris whispered, and she was like, I can't do the dance. And oh shit. And then that's when Itachi was like, yes you can. I figured out a way for you to understand it. And so that's when he was like, we're gonna start off with numbers, right? And after I do that, whatever I say next, you'll understand it. She was like, Itachi, you can't just trust me. And then that's when Itachi said, start the music again, please. And then that's when they start the music again. And then that's when he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, attack. And then that's when she gets the footwork right. She gets the footwork. And then that's when he said, attack, parry, sidestep. And then that's when she started incorporating her fighting abilities, her fighting into the dances. So she was able to get it, right? So she was able to get it, and she started doing the dance perfectly, like perfectly. And then that's when he was like, just remember that. Just keep it in your head. Dancing is like fighting. And then that's when she understands it. And then she does the dance perfectly. And then after that, this is where they do the climax. And then this is where Itachi lifts her and holds her up in the air as she spins him around. And then that's when he said, attack. And then they both, she comes into him, and then he grabs her, lays her out, and then spins her back into his arms. And then that's how they finish. And everybody starts clapping. They start going wild. And then that's when Itachi bows. And then that's when the party begins, or the anniversary event begins, right? So that's when she was really happy about Itachi being able to teach her stuff like this. And then that's when she was like, I know I give you a hard time, Itachi, but I really appreciate you. And then that's when Itachi was like, I would be a horrible teacher if I couldn't teach you anything, or learn how to teach you on the spot. He was like, I have a knack for it, but you know, it really means a lot that you accept me as your tutor. And then this is where all these other girls start coming in, and they were basically saying, you know, that they want him. They can have him right now after this event. Yeah, it was getting crazy, bro. It was like they was trying to get at Itachi and throw it at him, bro. I'm not gonna say throw what, but if you watch the show, you understand. That's all I'm gonna say. If you watch the show, you understand what they was trying to do to that man. So yeah, that was happening. They was trying to throw that shit at Itachi, bro. They was trying to throw that shit at him. And he was like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm good, really. Thank you, but I'm okay. And then they were all up on him. And then that's when Iris, you know, snatched him. And then that's when she this is where she grabbed Itachi. She grabbed Itachi, and she said that that's her property, and she's the only one that could do things to Itachi that they're saying. She was like, he's already taken, so go find someone else. And then that's when Itachi started blushing, because he was like, dang, I love me a fiery woman like that. You know, a lot of people see it as attitude. I'm going to say, if you like a woman that give you a little attitude, when she going to tell you what to do within reason, and she don't mind claiming you, hey, listen, man, y'all gotta take it, bruh. Y'all gotta understand it. There's a difference between respectfully doing it, though, but at the same time, not a little wrong with it. Now, she get crazy, hey, you gotta be like, you know, respectfully, chill out. But other than that, man, you good, bruh. This ain't Redux What Ifs giving relationship advice, bro. I mean, I really could, but that's too much. I ain't got time for that. Maybe, actually, I might do that. What if Redux was giving you relationship advice? That shit would be funny. But anyway, as I was saying, so she claims Itachi, and they both walk out, and the episode ends on a success. She thanks Itachi with a kiss, no, not a kiss, a hug, a very deep hug, right? And then that's when everything goes to canon after that, and we're off with that episode. The next one is Itachi's birthday. Woo! Itachi is 10 years old, bruh. And this is where Itachi, everybody didn't know it was birthday. So it was really low key, but when everybody found out, this is where, he wakes up, he gets ready for the day, has his sword on his back, and ready to start the day training. And then this is where Philip walks towards him, and he looks upset, and then that's when Phillips was like, Itachi! He said it like, Itachi! And he was like, uh-oh, I hope he didn't think me and Iris are together. I think he was basically saying that he didn't think that he hopes that he doesn't think that he hurt Iris, because that would be bad. And then that's when he was like, and then that's when he stops. He said, do you have something to tell me, sir? And then that's when Itachi was like, I don't think so, no. And then that's when he said, so you're really just gonna keep it a secret, huh? You're really not just gonna be honest? And then that's when Itachi was like, he was like, I'm sorry. And that's when he's like, you're sorry? You better be sorry. And then that's where Itachi was like, oh man, I'm in it for it now. He was like, because why didn't you tell me it was your birthday? And that's what Itachi was like, what? In his head. And he was like, he was like, since Iris' birthday passed, I really didn't think it was, that important. He was like, that important? He was like, since you teach Iris, you're family as well. He said, since you teach Iris, you're considered family as well. So that's when he was like, he was like, oh, okay. He was like, okay. That's when excuse me. That's when he was like, so what do you want to do for your birthday? He was like, I really don't have anything in mind that I want to do. He said, I don't really have anything in mind. He said, I'm just gonna take it easy today. He was like, okay, well, we're gonna have a celebration for you, right? And then that's when he was like, we're gonna have a political marriage, the proposal involving Iris. And then I was like, even if you want me to, I could tie her up so she doesn't get away, and you can have her. And he said, and she could be everything in yours. And then that's when Itachi was like, I respect your decision, Sir Phillips, but please, I'm not like that. He was like, yes, I know my father could be pervy, and I may, have those thoughts, but I don't act on it because I am a upstanding gentleman. Please, Sir Phillips, I don't need this. Well, I need it, but not yet. Well, he didn't say it like that, but you get the point, bro. Itachi's not going out like that, bro. He's not like that. And then that's when, the day goes on. And then that's when later that night, right? This is where, everything went good. He got to hang out with Iris, and he was just having a good old grand time. And then this is where, Itachi, takes off his shirt. Let's see the muscles with the calisthenics and the abs and shit, bro. He got that functional strength, bro. He good. So this is when Iris' mom pulls Iris to her, and then this is when she said that, you know, it's Itachi's birthday, so you have to make it a birthday to remember. And then, following her mother's instructions, this is where Iris comes to his room dressed up. She's wearing like a little robe, like a robe to cover her body. And then that's when this is when Iris said, "Hey, Itachi, happy birthday." And then he was like, "Oh, thank you, Iris." And then this is when she said that she couldn't sleep, so is it okay if she could come in his room and sleep with him? And then that's when he wasn't taking it like that. He was like, "Yes, you know, it's fine. You know, if it's anything that he can do to help her, make her feel okay, then, you know, he's up for it." And then this is where Itachi made her side of the bed, and he was like, "Just let me know when you're ready to." He was like, "You don't have to wait up for me. You could go." He said you could go ahead and go to sleep. I have to you know, do a little bit more meditating. He was like, "Make yourself a home." And this is where she takes the robe off, and then this is where she said, "Itachi, come to bed with me, please." And then this is where Itachi turned around, because he heard a little bit of intimacy and anxiousness. And then this is where he turned around, and he was like, "Iris." He's like, this is where he turns red. He was like, "You look amazing," but this is where he was like, are you sure?" He was like, "I don't want you to." This is where he comes close, and then this is where he comes close, and then this is where they end up tripping. They end up tripping somehow. Itachi ends up tripping, and then they fall on the bed. And then this is where Itachi was like, "Iris, are you comfortable with this?" And then this is where she was like, "Yes," as she started shaking. And then this is where she was like, "My mom said that this would make you happy, and I truly believe it will." And then this is where Itachi was like, "Is this what you want to do, though?" And then she said, "Yes, but I just don't know." And then this is where Itachi was like, "Okay, how about this? Let's just sleep together. Not like that, please." As they both turn red. And then he said, "And whenever you're truly ready, we could try this again as adults. Okay? But for now, I don't want you to do something you're not comfortable with. You already make me happy enough, Iris. Me seeing your smile, and you just laughing and being the fiery, hot-headed, yet caring girl that I know and I teach is enough for me." And then that's when she blushes and hugs Itachi. Hugs Itachi as they were about to kiss. And then that's when she slaps Itachi, as she was like, "You're a perv for looking." And then that's when Itachi's like, but I didn't even. He was like, "You're the one that came dressed up like this." And then this is where Iris was like, "Well, you're not supposed to look." And then this is where Itachi was like, "I will close my eyes and turn around. You can take my shirt. It might be big, but you can wear that, okay?" And so, you know, this is where they sleep together. And then that's when Itachi wakes up, you know, do his morning push-up, and Iris wakes up a little bit later, and she doesn't realize that she has Itachi's she doesn't have Itachi. She has Itachi's shirt on still. So she walks out, and that's when her mom's like, "Ooh, so did you get frisky in there?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" "No." He's like, "So why are you wearing his shirt?" And then that's when she was like, "It's not what it looks like." And he's like, "It's exactly what it looks like." And then that's when they were like, they were both like going back and forth, right? And then this is where Iris and, you know, Rudy is hang out for the day, you know, training and all that other stuff. And then this is where Iris asked the question, and she was like, Rudius, what's your strongest, not Rudius, she was like, Itachi, what's your strongest spell, or like your strongest attack? He was like, my strongest attack? He was like, He was like, my strongest attack. He was like, okay. He was like, my strongest attack is, let's see. He was like, I have a lot of strong ones, but if you're looking for destructiveness, I would say this is my strongest attack. As he said, as he uses his Mangekyou Sharingan, as he goes up into a Susanoo, right? He uses the Susanoo, right? And then this is we're gonna say this isn't the complete Susanoo. This is more like the skeletal version, like half armor on and half the armor off, because he's still like maturing and growing into the Susanoo, if that makes sense. So he stands as he was like, this is my strongest attack. Fire style, majestic flame dragon destroyer. And he shoots it into the sky, right? And that's when all the clouds begin to like form, right? All these dark clouds. He's like, that's only one of my strongest attacks. This one is my true strongest. And then this is where he raises his hand, as this is where he says, this is when he was like, lightning style, lightning dragon. Well, he didn't say like, I'm gonna just say Kiden twin dragons, right? And so this is where he uses this is where you see the Kirin comes down, and there's like a lightning dragon, 2 twin lightning dragons, as this is where he strikes them down, and it creates a huge crater, right? This is where it creates a huge crater, and then this is where it blows up, but at the same time, as the dust was clearing, this is where an even huge explosion comes, the teleporting event, right? This is where they teleport, and it swallows everything, as this is where, you know, the teleporting happens, and then this is where Itachi and Iris were trying to run away, and then that's when Itachi uses wind style, wind pull, wind gust pull, right, to pull Iris towards him as he grabs her, and he was like, she said, Itachi, what's happening? And then this is where he said, I got you, Iris. And as he wraps, this is where, actually no, retcon that. Instead of that, this is where they both run, and then that's when Itachi grabs Iris' hand, but the force pulls them apart, and then this is where Itachi uses the Susanoo to grab her, right? He grabs her and then pulls the arm close, and then brings the arms into an embrace so she could get inside the Susanoo with him, as the teleport event happens, and they end up crash landing. And they fall, like, it's like a purple it's like a blackish white shooting star that crashes with, because I said Itachi's Susanoo is like a black white, right? Like a black flaming white, right? So this is where the Susanoo crashes like a shooting star, and it makes like a huge explosion, right? And then this is where Iris is on top of Itachi, and that's where I'm gonna leave this what if off, because the whole movie as a whole got clapped, so I have to do it all over again. So this is gonna be the movie for part 1. So this is gonna be like a 3-parter episode series, and then for the next what if, I'm gonna finish the rest of the episodes, since my computer must have acted stupid. But I hopefully you guys enjoyed this what if, man. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me, and I'm about to drop another video, so y'all just stay tuned for that. Run this one up. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me, and I'm out. Peace.